M is for Mason.
G is for Graham.
B for Betcha.
This is the MGB Wrestling Podcast, the podcast with PG-rated material accessible to wrestling fans of all ages.
My name is Graham Bagshaw, and my co-host and creator of this podcast is proof that wrestling fans live with their parents. My 10-year-old son, Mason.
All right, Mason. So we got a special guest this week. We actually got quite a busy episode. We went to Smackdown 1000 on Tuesday. We were at Nova Pro last night. We're actually recording on Saturday, so this is kind of unusual as well. I guess we got a busy week. We've got James with us. And now, we've been practicing, and I think I had this, James, and then I've gone and messed myself up, and I can't remember. Is it? I'm going to go with, okay, I'm going to give you my input, my go, and then Mason. Hey, Mason, why don't you go first? Who's our guest today?
It's Vukmirovic.
I know I can beat that. All right, I think it's James Vukmirovic.
Close enough, it's Vukmirovic.
Oh, it wasn't too bad. And I heard that the guys from View from the Top Row pronounced it, and somebody said that they actually nailed it. Matt, our common friend Matt Willis mentioned that they got it perfectly. So James is from Wulfrun Pro Wrestling, and I guess we should say first of all how we actually know you. We've never actually talked before, but I've sort of known you as an online character for probably about 4 or 5 years. Same way that I know Matt Willis.
Internet fans, aren't we? We've all become fans of Fighting Talk in the UK.
Correct, yeah, and we've sort of seen each other make comments on the Facebook page. But yeah, this is actually our first time we've talked. We've DM'd a few times because we were trying to set all this stuff up. But yeah, so this is kind of new for us both. Now, you've agreed very graciously to do the review with Mason, so that means I don't have to talk as much today, so I certainly appreciate that. You're going to do the quiz with Jackson as well. He was very excited. He always likes a new challenge. All right, so match one, let's look at Monday Night Raw. So, Mason, what was your third moment from Raw this week?
My third moment is Ronda. She gives a Samoan drop to the security guard. But you said it's not a Samoan drop or something. It's some special judo move or something. But I just call it a Samoan drop because
that's what it is. They gave it a special name, and I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I think that one's slightly different. I think that's the one that she does in the ring when she like flips them around or something.
Oh well.
But I'm not sure on that one. Anything else particularly for that moment, or just that one single thing that you liked?
It was just it reminded me of Roman when he took out the security guards. So, like, he was taking out the security guard, he started punching them, and basically Ronda did the same thing. It just reminds me of Roman, so.
And what did you think of that segment, James, or is that one of yours too?
Is that from the women's tag match?
I don't remember. I think it was just a promo. I don't think Ronda even actually fought anybody in the end, did she?
Yeah, it was the promo. It was when she was in the ring, and then she wanted to attack the Bella Twins. And she was running towards them, and the security guards came out, and that's when she did the Samoan drop.
I'll tell you what, I mean, I look at the way she does that move. It's a Samoan drop. It's like a mixture between a Samoan drop and a Death Valley driver. I think that's the way she does it. And it does look impressive for the way she, throws the person. She's obviously protecting them as they're landing. And it looks impressive on the guy she threw as well. I mean, I think the whole segment was pretty good for, I think, the way that they both delivered their promos, because Nikki talks about the diva side of the women's evolution, and obviously Ronda Rousey has come in during the actual women's era, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And they're both of their era, but obviously it's good to see the two clashing together. Plus the fact that both of them can actually cut a decent promo.
And somebody reminded me of this, and I'd forgot, one of the podcasts I was listening to, that when they're in UFC, they don't get that weekly show. So the main thing they have to do is they have to cut a promo. They have to do it like a few days before the actual fight, like during the weigh-in and things like that. So it's not that she's not used to doing it. It's just that probably we haven't seen it. Now, I got to give credit for Nikki Bella on this one, because I don't think they would have let her do that without her permission. And it might even been Nikki Bella who gave her the permission to make fun of her and John Cena as well, and the reference to kicking down his bedroom door. So I thought full credit to them for doing that. All right, Mason, what's your second moment?
Well, it's a talking point. I don't even think we've decided if it's a talking point or a moment. Well,
We're only on episode 29 or 30 today. We'll get there eventually. We'll figure by second year. We'll figure out what we call in this segment.
Things we saw about Raw.
Okay, we got it.
SmackDown.
Go.
Okay, I like one Singh brother better than two.
I still don't know their names. It's Samir. I don't even know who the other one is.
Samir and I don't even know the other one.
I don't know the other one's name either. But no, we talked about that when we were watching it. We actually prefer it with just one Singh brother rather than two. I don't see the point of the second one. He doesn't add anything. The first one can interfere perfectly well. The second one can't do anything else except interfere.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And they have Alicia Fox.
And they have Alicia Fox now as well. Yeah. So, yeah, I think the other Singh brother is kind of redundant at this point.
My number one moment is Braun, Dolph, and Drew they break up.
Oh, well, it could be. They certainly didn't agree at the end, did they? He got the kick from... what's that called? The Claymore kick?
Claymore kick.
He got the Claymore, first of all, by accident.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, it was very deliberate. And Braun actually power slammed Dolph, didn't he? So, yeah, and I wasn't expecting that, because it looked more likely that the Shield were going to break up.
Yeah, so if they actually did break up, and they're not in the running against the Shield anymore, I think the Shield can move on to the New Day.
Oh, I would love it if they took out the New Day, because I hate the New Day. But yeah, well, they're on different brands to begin with right now. One's on Raw and one's on SmackDown. But yeah, it doesn't have to be a 3-on-3, of course. All right, James, do you have anything for this one? This was, for me, would have been one of my top moments as well, I think, if I'd have been choosing.
I'll be honest, I think it was one of mine as well. I mean, I liked the whole dynamic of it. The threatened breakup of the Shield with Dean Ambrose having frustrations, shall we say. With him being so not on the same page as Seth Rollins and Roman, plus the arguments they were having, and then eventually getting it together at the end. And yeah, the dynamic between Braun, Dolph, and Drew was really good to see. I mean, you want to have Drew as this big guy who's got a killer side to him. And that Claymore kick is perfect because it fits my criteria for finish, because you can do it on anyone, you can do it from anywhere, and it can be reversed. So it works for him nicely. And doing it on a guy like Braun Strowman, spot on.
And that's one of the problems when you got Braun Strowman. He always looks so unbeatable, but that Claymore kick, actually, I thought worked pretty well on that. You actually believed that Braun could be knocked down.
Absolutely, and I think that's the whole point, because they built him up to be this big, unstoppable monster, and great, you like to have a big, unstoppable monster, but then there are times when you want him to be able to stop.
Yeah, you've got to have that plausibility that eventually he could lose at some point, and he has some weakness. All right, go ahead. Tell us what your third moment was, James.
Well, let's see. So, third moment, Seth versus Drew. Just the fact that it was a great match between those two.
Uh-huh. Do you have anything for this one? I got to be honest. We talked about this beforehand. Normally, when I'm doing this, I make my own notes of what happened, and normally we're talking about this Wednesday or Thursday. We have seen so much wrestling this week. I'm forgetting parts. I'm forgetting so much about what actually happened. I'm trying to feed off what you guys give me from your notes. I don't have anything to add for this one, Mason.
Me neither.
I was going to say, I know exactly how you feel. I mean, this week I've watched Raw, SmackDown, Mixed Match Challenge, NXT, and the NXT UK program.
I caught that one as well, because I wanted to make sure I was keeping up to date on that. And we went to Nova Pro last night as well. And we were actually at SmackDown in 1000, which we're going to talk about in a minute as well. But yeah, no, I'm forgetting just that 5 days in between. It makes a big difference. All right, what was your second moment then, James?
I actually put the Bellas versus Bellas and Ronda Rousey promo.
Yeah,
because of the way it flowed, the fact that the other women's promo, I wasn't impressed by, between Lisa, Trish, Mickey, and Alexa. It seemed very thrown together. There wasn't a lot of thought to it. Whereas the Bellas and Ronda Rousey, there's already that thing going between them, which is sort of built and built. And like I said earlier, Ronda Rousey has developed a good promo, and when she starts motoring, she sounds like she could rip your arm off.
Oh, definitely. I don't doubt that for 1 second. All right, let's move on to number one then, James.
The story of the Shield and Braun and Drew and Dolph.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, the whole dynamic of throughout the evening, with it looking like there was going to be the breakup of the Shield to not being, and the whole thing between Braun, Andrew McIntyre, and Dolph Ziggler. And Dolph because he's the smallest of the three, he's the one taking the bumps, he's the one taking the beating, but he's good at that.
Yeah. I don't think we got any. I think we're all totally agreeing on this one that was definitely the highlight of the whole show. It's been building up to it for a few weeks, and I thought it was a swerve at the end. I really thought it was going to be Dean was the one that was going to be the problem, and they actually did a nice swerve on that, and I actually like that twist. I'm kind of curious to figure out what they're actually going to do with that now, what they're going to do with the Shield, and what's going to happen between McIntyre. I'm kind of curious what's going to happen with McIntyre. Is he going to go straight against Braun? Is he going to side with Dolph? Is Dolph out in the cold now? And I don't really have a good answer for that right now.
Me neither.
And that's the nice thing about it, because you have absolutely no idea where it's going, which is the point of wrestling. You know, you shouldn't have to sit there and go, well, this is going to happen and that's going to happen and we all know this is going to happen. The element of surprise is a wonderful thing.
Yeah. No, that's some good stuff. And I know our friend Matt Willis always talks about now, and I'm sure he was part of this as well, that Paul Heyman's doing the writing now. And he's commented that several times on the Good Cop, Bad Cop, that the stories have got much better recently because of that. And I think that's good that we have no idea where this is going. I like being kept on my toes. Sometimes recently it's been fairly predictable, and I kind of like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's actually go on to our quiz then. So we got a special Are You Smarter Than a Fourth Grader for you, James. Now, what I was going to do with you for this one, we normally do, for Jackson's benefit, wrestler or something. So for our friends from Yorkshire, we did cricketers. We did recently, what was it, within being Australia, we did rugby league players. Now, I believe you have a connection with rugby as well, right, besides wrestling?
Yeah, I've played international rugby league when I was younger. I can't necessarily say thinner, but I was when I was younger. And I've worked for the Rugby League European Federation for the last 10 years, which is the umbrella body for the whole of Northern Hemisphere, basically, rugby league.
Oh, wow. So you would have definitely had some insight on that one. And then I thought for a similar reason, with you being so sporty, I was going to actually do, with you being from Wulfrun Wrestling, I was actually going to go with Wolverhampton Wanderers players. But then I thought, well, I can't do the current ones because I'm sure you'd know those. But then I was like, I don't even know how far to go back. You might know those as well. So I went with something totally different. When I think of Wolf, and I know it's a different spelling, I think of the Lone Wolf. So I've decided to come up with 7 questions to do with Baron Corbin, and we'll see how you do on this one. Now, Jackson's already given me his answers, so once you've done yours, we can tell you exactly how well you did, okay? First question. Baron Corbin's real name, is it Chris or Thomas?
Thomas.
Okay, question 2. He has tattoos on his legs. Are they of his father and grandfather, or his mother and grandmother?
Mother and grandmother.
I'm sure you know that he played professional football. The question is, was he an offensive lineman for the Colts or the Falcons?
Falcons.
Fourth question. Did he make his WWE debut at the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania?
WrestleMania.
Question 5. Who did he unsuccessfully cash in his Money in the Bank to? Was it Jinder Mahal or was it John Cena?
It was Jinder Mahal.
Who did he lose to in WrestleMania 34? Was it Jeff Hardy or was it Matt Hardy?
Matt Hardy.
And last one. During his 4 years at college, how many times did he go to the national championship?
3 times.
Ooh, that's quite a high number. All right, let's see how you actually did there on this one. All right, now I actually kept the score, and I'm hoping I can remember which answers you actually gave. His real name is Thomas, so you got that one. It's Thomas, I think that's Pestock. I think that's how you pronounce his name. His tattoos are actually of his father and his grandfather. I was kind of surprised by that one. I was thinking it was going to be his mother or his grandmother, which is, I think, what you actually went with. He was an offensive lineman for the Colts. Which I don't think you got either. I think you said the Falcons. I'm trying to remember who is the Falcons. I think it's Goldberg, because we had some questions on that recently.
Was the Falcons.
He also played. Yeah, I threw that one in as a trick one because I was like, they might think, oh yeah, I remember hearing that. He also played for the Cardinals as well. Then some ones that are actually based on fact here, so I thought this might give you a little edge, James. So did he make his WWE debut at the Rumble or WrestleMania? It was WrestleMania. It was WrestleMania 32, and it was the Andre the Giant Battle Royale. Who did he unsuccessfully cash in? You were correct. It was Jinder Mahal. And the reason it was unsuccessful was John Cena was the person who interfered. So that was why I threw that name in. Who did he lose to in WrestleMania 34? You were correct. It was Matt Hardy. And these all came from Wikipedia. This last one is mind-blowing to me, and I didn't have a chance to look anymore. He went to the National Championship 4 out of 4 years when he was in college. That team must have been something special to do that. I know it wasn't Division 1. I saw it was Division 2. But even so, I still thought that was kind of impressive.
I was definitely close. I was in the right direction.
You were, yeah. No, I saw that. I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. That was one Jackson actually got, amazingly. All right, you got a total of 4 out of 7. And Jackson will play the clip now so you can hear. Alright, Jay, we're going to talk about a wrestler who's on Raw, okay? Baron Corbin, okay? Is his real name Chris or Thomas?
Thomas.
He has tattoos on his leg. Are they of his dad or his mum?
His mum.
Was he an offensive lineman for the Colts or the Falcons?
The Falcons.
Did he make his WWE debut at the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania?
The WrestleMania.
Who did he unsuccessfully cash in his Money in the Bank to? Was it Jinder Mahal or was it John Cena?
John Cena.
Who did he lose to in WrestleMania 34? Was it Jeff Hardy or was it Matt Hardy?
Jeff Hardy.
And during his 4 years at college, how many times did he go to the national championship? 1, 2, 3, or 4?
4.
Alright, you got 3 out of 7, little buddy. So we'll see how well James does, and then we'll let you know, okay? So, as you just heard, James, he got 3 out of 7, so I'm going to declare you the winner for this one, so you are officially smarter than a 4-year-old.
Wonderful!
He has a tendency of picking the second answer for most questions. The one time he didn't pick the second answer was when it was the second answer, and so he should have got a tie. It was between Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy, and he picked Jeff Hardy, which I'm really surprised about, because he really likes the mower of lawns, which is Matt Hardy. But anyway, he's full of surprises. Alright, let's move on to our second match of the week then. So this is Smackdown 1000. So Mason, we're actually at Smackdown 1000. Yeah. The thing that was amazing for me is it was so hard to get tickets for this when it came out. They released some on pre-sale, and they sold out within like 10 minutes. I tried, couldn't get them, and I was like, I guess we're not going. And I didn't even mention it to you at that point. They then released some extra ones. Same thing, couldn't get any for that either. And I went to StubHub later, and they finally were selling them, and I paid it was about the right price. I don't think it was much more than they would have been on Ticketmaster. A week before, I looked online just to see how much the prices were. They were going for $7 a seat. I have no idea how they were so cheap. I guess people decided that Raw 25 wasn't very good, and they just decided they didn't want to go. Or somebody had some things coming up. I don't know what happened. All right, we're going to do this the other way around. James, let's get your opinions first on this one. So what was your third moment from SmackDown 1000?
All right, my third moment was Rey Mysterio's return. Mm-hmm. Because it's wonderful to see him back. It's wonderful to know that he's going to be doing the full-time schedule as well. So he is back. And he's looking good. And I know he's been away working, so you don't lose it. But to go back in that style against a guy like Shinsuke Nakamura and have a great match.
Yeah.
And just set the crowd on fire. It was brilliant to see him back, and he's looking good.
And I posted on Twitter, and I was shocked by this. He's older than me. I had no idea about that at all. I guess I didn't realise. I knew he was in his 40s, but I didn't realise he was that old. And the crowd were actually chanting, "You still got it." So they were definitely agreeing with it as well. Anything you want to add for this one, Mason?
When Rey Mysterio, he went under the bottom rope and slid on top of Shinsuke, that's gotta hurt your stomach.
I would have thought so. That looked really impressive to me as well. Was that one of your 3 moments, or was this just a bonus moment for you?
It was just a bonus.
I think if I'd have been picking one of my 3 moments, I would have picked that. When he slid under that rope, I've not seen that before. I've seen people dive through the middle rope, obviously, and over the top rope, but that under the bottom rope, I thought that was really cool to see. Yeah. All right, James, what about your second moment?
Just as an addendum to that,
sure.
I remember when people were chanting, "You've still got it," at Chris Jericho. And he shouted back, "I never lost it, baby."
Yeah.
If Rey Mysterio had that sort of character, he would have been shouting that.
Nice.
But my number 2 moment, It's kind of a combination one. It's the Bar win the tag team belts and the Big Show heel turn.
Okay, what appealed to you? What about this in particular appealed to you then?
Well, again, really entertaining match because, unlike yourself, I actually do. I like the New Day. I like the way they go about it. They're having fun and they do add a certain element to the show. But then you put them in there with Sheamus and Cesaro, and it's the perfect mix because, number one, all of them are great workers, so you know they're going to have a great match. They've got the different dynamics because the Bar are the more serious team.
Yes.
It's good to see them win the belts because they'll get to carry it. And I think, being as it was SmackDown 1000, you kind of knew there would be a big title change. So that was kind of a given there. But the second that I heard, well, it's the Big Show, I thought, he's coming out and he's going to turn heel. And it kind of makes sense with him being associated with those two because they're all big guys.
Yeah. And
so the Big Show can act as that enforcer type for that team.
And I was disappointed when he came out on SmackDown 999 because I was like, why would you bring him out an episode before? Surely you'd want to bring him out on 1000. And I didn't think we were going to get to see him. So that was cool that we got to see him. That was something that I certainly liked. Mason?
I think Big Show's a face now.
No.
No.
We talked about this before.
That
That was a heel. That was a definite heel turn. Yeah. Yeah, the New Day, why would he do that? There was no reason to do that.
Because
that was a
they're
real... I can't argue with that. I think they're annoying, but I don't think you can be classed as a face if you choke slam them through the announcer's desk.
And he doesn't want to. If he was with the New Day, he would be walking around with pancakes flying all around him.
All right, I know you came up with that face theory before, and I thought that was funny, but I don't think that's a fact. I've not heard anybody else say that's why people listen. They like to hear your unique take on things, Mason. All right, what about your number one moment then, James?
Well, it's associated with the Evolution reunion, which was cool, but it's just for the following words from Dave Bautista: "Keep that thing in your pants."
I don't get it.
It was hysterical.
And as it's a PG show, I'm not going to be explaining that reference to you as well. But I thought that was pretty funny. Yes,
it was the point when Dave Bautista forgot it was a PG show, and it was all the better for it.
Yes, I think as Mason just proved, you can get away with that comment, and I think it was perfectly okay. But I thought that was funny. If it would have been my Dave Bautista moment, it would have actually been the one with Triple H where he says, "You haven't beaten me though," which I think they're definitely setting up something for the future. But we'll have to see on that one.
I thought it was funny when Randy said that they did amazing stuff and Batista did amazing jobs sitting in the makeup chair.
There was some good lines between all of them. There was definitely some banter between the characters, and I really liked that. Now, wasn't one of your moments specifically about this segment as well, Mason?
Yes.
Go ahead, tell us which one of your segments was then.
Well, my second moment was actually the whole thing. Just seeing Evolution and their whole entire talk. And I like seeing Ric Flair. I really wanted to see him.
I agree. I was excited to see Ric Flair, and I thought he looked really well as well. Considering a year ago he was so close to dying, and he was in an induced coma. I thought that was great that he was actually back and prancing around, and you could hear the woos in the crowd from way before, like an hour before. People in the crowd were going, woo! When you could tell that he still got it. Batista got a big pop as well, with him being from DC as well. So yeah, no, I agree. I like that whole segment as well, and trying to narrow it down to a single point is really difficult. All right, what was your third moment then, as you just gave us your second moment?
My third moment was just seeing Vince McMahon.
Now, I know one of the criticisms of Raw 1000 was, 25 years, was that there was just too many people and there wasn't enough wrestling. I was happy to see people as well. I wasn't expecting Vince to be there. Perhaps I should have been, but yeah, no, I thought that was cool to see him strutting down. He instigated one of the dance breaks as well, which I thought was really good. I thought that was good. I thought Shane and Stephanie both played their part as well in that segment.
Yeah, but wasn't Stephanie Raw?
She was, but I think it was just an introduction to the whole family. I was surprised they brought Stephanie out first, but I think they brought her out first so they could get a bigger pop for when Shane came out. And that certainly happened. Once that, here comes the money, then everyone was cheering.
And everyone
She was also the SmackDown general manager about 15 years ago.
I think she said wasn't she the original one? I think she said she was for episode 1, I think she said later.
I am upset we didn't get to see Paige.
Oh, yeah. I'd forgotten about that. We talked about who we were going to see, and we thought, yeah, that's really
Tori
weird,
Wilson
actually.
wasn't there.
Tori
Vicky
Wilson?
Guerrero.
We saw Vicky Guerrero backstage, but
Yeah,
she didn't come out.
She didn't come out.
I'd forgotten about that. I wonder why they wouldn't bring Paige out. Yeah, I don't have a good answer for that. All right, go ahead. Give us your last moment, then.
My last moment was the 205 live match, the whole entire Fatal 5-Way. It was amazing.
It was, and I've admitted many times, I don't really watch 205. I like that style of wrestling, but I haven't really bought into the characters. And when they came out, I wasn't that excited by it, but no, I thought they put on a really great show. Yeah. I didn't realize Leo Rush was part of that. I thought he was really impressive. Yeah. Who did you say your favorite one from that group was? Can you remember?
Leo.
Oh, it was Leo? Okay. Yeah. I thought it was Cedric.
Oh, Cedric was one of my favorites.
Oh, okay, but you prefer Leo now. What did you make of the two? Well, you probably wouldn't get to see the 205 section because that was before. That was like the pre-show. Is that something that you watched, James?
Because I've got the network, I do watch it every now and again. Because there's a few reasons for that. Drake Maverick / Spud being the general manager, because I've known him from over here. I wouldn't say we're super close, but we've always got on when we've spoken. It's great seeing him. And you do see some great action on there. You see some great wrestlers on there, and they've kind of got their own thing to work on. They're not say a side show on Smackdown or a side show on Raw. They've got their own elements.
Yeah, no, I thought it was good. The one thing that disappointed me a little bit, one of my favourite people is Gentleman Jack Gallagher, but it's pretty clear he's a heel character now as well. He was there as a manager. I don't know if he's injured right now. I like him in the ring. I like his umbrella. I liked it when he first came on the scene, and I was really hoping to see him as a positive character rather than someone who gets booed. You knew he was going to interfere in that match.
Yes.
They wouldn't have had him out for any other reason. All right. Now, specifically as we were there then, Mason, is there anything else that you want to add in? We should be adding some insight. We just talked about our 3 moments. Anything else you want to talk about that happened at SmackDown 1000?
When Rey Mysterio was entering, they changed the ring apron when he was, in the ring.
They did. That was really weird. He carried on as nothing was happening. Actually, he was good. He climbed up onto the ropes so he could acknowledge the crowd and then let them remove things from it. But yeah, that was really strange. I don't know if they got some blood on the ring or something. They certainly had the correct SmackDown 1000 ring up. Well, the thing I was going to talk about then, since I gave you a chance to see if you wanted to do it, this is on me. I messed up. When we got there, we were parking on the street and we parked at 6:30. And it said you could park for 4 hours, which is 10:30. So SmackDown finishes at 10, no problems, right? We started to put the money in, and it only let me get 3.5 hours, which I was like, well, that takes us till 10, so we're good. It says 7:45 on the ticket, so I assumed 2 hours would be good, 9:45. That didn't happen. The show didn't start at 7:45. We actually had to leave early. We probably missed the biggest highlight of all, James. We didn't get to see the end of the Rey Mysterio match. I think we only missed a minute of it. And we didn't get to see Undertaker. Now, interestingly, neither of you picked Undertaker as your moment. I guess you couldn't because you weren't there, although you saw it later. In the end, it turned out I wasn't impressed with what I saw because we watched the highlights later. He said 13 words and that was it. Now, the entrance itself would have been cool to see, and unfortunately, like I said, we missed it. But the actual promo itself, I thought was pretty lame. James, you saw it, I'm guessing, so what did you make of it?
Yeah, was what it was.
Yeah.
It's sort of filling the role for what they're going for the match at Crown Jewel. But I think just to have him as one of the mainstays of SmackDown over all these years, come out and do the full entrance, that was worth seeing. The promo was whatever it was.
Yeah, and that would have been the reason we won. I think the only thing and you weren't as disappointed because I was like, I really let him down on this one. You were really good about it. I felt really bad, but in the end, I think we've seen him so many times the last few weeks. It didn't feel as special, and I talked about that before as well. So anyway, that's our little story from SmackDown 1000, and we had to run as well to make the car. Yeah. We had to run 6 or 7 minutes just to get to the car, and we made it in time.
Something I can say from SmackDown that I do enjoy is I love the dynamic between Carmella and R-Truth.
Mm-hmm.
He's found the perfect sort of character. And
he has, yeah.
By being completely bonkers. And she was great as a heel. Mm-hmm. I did like the work she was doing as a heel, but those two together, it's good fun seeing it. And they seem to gel well.
The fact that they let them open the show, I think, speaks volumes. And that was, as they said, he said, we've had some great moments on R-Truth TV. And she's like, we only had one episode. But the fact that actually even worked shows you how good of a team that actually is.
Yeah.
All right, I think that does it for SmackDown. Well, first of all, James, thank you for joining us this week. It's always good to get some new opinions. How about you tell us about, first of all, tell us how we can find you on Twitter. Tell us how we can find Wulfrun. Go ahead, give us your promotion, because we know you've got an event coming up in about 3 weeks' time as well.
Absolutely. Well, Wulfrun Pro Wrestling was something I had an idea about doing a couple of years ago. I'd always had this idea that I wanted to promote a show. I'd booked 2 shows in the past, but they'd never been mine. So I settled on a good name. I didn't want to call it Wolverhampton City Wrestling because WCW, I think that's been done before.
I'd not even thought about that. Yes, I think it has.
It just wouldn't have worked. And WCPW, I think that's been done as well. Wulfruna is the historical name of Wolverhampton. And that just sort of fitted in nicely. So Wulfrun Pro Wrestling, WPW. Had the first show May last year. The video, there's not really any video footage of it, and I think you would probably class it as an early installation weirdness because we didn't have the setup of the room wasn't what I've had since. The entranceway wasn't in the right place. The seating was all wrong. It just didn't feel right. It was basically something I put together before I had developed the idea of what to do. But since then, we've moved around the setup a little bit, but the ring has always been where it's been. We've discovered the lighting in the room that actually makes the ring look, I think, better. It's a more intimate feel. And we've had the audiences build as well. So this is all building up to the show on the 10th of November, which is one of our biggest shows. And it's also a great one that highlights the women's division that we have, because we've really built a decent women's division.
Yep. So how do we buy tickets for that?
It's Wulfrun Pro Wrestling, or one word, .bigcartel.com. And that's for the site to buy tickets to it. Otherwise, you can go on the Facebook page and you can message us through that. And that is just Wulfrun Pro Wrestling. You'll find us on there. In terms of Twitter, at Wulfrun Pro, I shall just double check that.
That sounds good, because I remember tagging you guys a couple of weeks ago when I was wearing my shirt at Fury Pro Wrestling, so that sounds good.
Yeah, at Wulfrun Pro for our Facebook page. That's also the name of our Instagram page as well. I've tried to sort of spread it over all the social medias. And a lot of what we do, well, I say we, it's kind of a one-man gang with myself, is through Facebook advertising, paying for that to, spread that out the area. Still doing the old-fashioned thing of putting posters up, not thousands and thousands of them, because number one, that costs money, and number two, there's a chance that for all that you might just get 5 extra people.
Yeah.
But having enough in shop windows, and I found that barbers, chip shops, and some shops are very good for that.
Yeah.
Other ones, if they don't want a poster, I've got flyers I can put in there instead.
Uh-huh.
And it's the visual recognition thing of people walking past and going, "Oh, wrestling! I didn't know there was wrestling around here," because Penn, where I live, hasn't really had wrestling for a long time. The only thing it had, and obviously they've gone to bigger and better things, is Fight Club Pro, who originally were at Penn Cricket Club. Mm-hmm. They've then into the centre of Wolverhampton, and they now get 500, 600 people at shows. They're also off to Japan at the beginning of next year, so
oh wow,
that's something to look at for what I'd like to do with Wulfrun Pro Wrestling. What I want to do with the promotion at the moment is build it bigger and better and increase the audience and just enjoy the ride and see where it goes.
Absolutely. And I know that the Nova Pro, we've talked to some people about that, like how do you grow that, like trying to get the message out there. And there is a lot of people, there's wrestling fans, and they don't always know that there's wrestling available. And it took me a while to find it. I didn't know Nova Pro existed for its first year. I knew in the second year, and I'm going to say we've been going for a year now, and you still hear people who go, I've never even heard of it. So it is difficult to get that. Even with all the different social medias that you've just talked about, trying to get that brand recognized is difficult to begin with, so I certainly recognize that.
And it's that thing as well of trying to find a suitable venue, because you might be wrestling out of a working men's club. Now, I did look at that, but the problem is you have to go through committees. You have to justify your existence. What we've got is it's a church hall near where I live. I'm not a member of any church, but I was driving past it one day and I looked at it. I had a moment of serendipity when I thought, that could be good for a wrestling show. So I had a look at the hall, which is where we now do the shows. People there, and obviously being a church hall, you have to limit certain things. But you can't sell alcohol, for example, and you can't really do that anyway because you have to have a license, and there's lots of money that goes into that. But as long as the premises are clean, nothing gets broken, and we look after them, we are absolutely fine. It's a great little venue as well because it's situated on the Penn Road going out of Wolverhampton. It's near a couple of pubs if you do want to go for a drink. It's near shops. And it's got big car parking, so it's got all that. Plus, we've got this lovely big backstage area. And Gorilla, where I've got the entrance where everything's set up, it's just at the end of a long corridor, so people can be all around. They can be watching the show on the TV I've got provided, and they can be part of the show even when their matches are done.
Now, we actually ended up with so much material that we split the interview into 2 parts at this point. So this will give you an idea a little bit about Wulfrun and how you can find it online. And then we're going to conclude this interview in 2 weeks' time. Next week, we're going to be doing our review of the Nova Pro event from October 19th. And then we'll conclude this interview on MGB 30 in 2 weeks' time.
It's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.
Goodbye.
The music was ZigZag by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0, http://creativecommons.org/licenses/by/3.0.